This video is going to be a look at one element of the Lions offense in Saturday's overwhelming win over the Broncos at home, 42-17. You would think on a night when Jared Goff threw 5 touchdowns, 21-0 lead at the half for the Lions, where the defense was dominant in the first half, you'd think I'd pick the passing game to focus on, and I will do a video on that at some point Tuesday. But what I'm going to look at in this video and try to analyze and explain my thoughts on is how Ben Johnson and the Lions offense attacks to the boundary with the run game. I constantly refer to it in videos about Ben Johnson's offense and about Todd Monken's with the Ravens. I want to establish specifically what I mean because I think it's important not just what kind of plays they run, both offenses, but we're focusing on the Lions here. Zone schemes, gap schemes, trap, whatever, and what players get the football, but also where they run it. Because you can control where the nickel defender lines up in the NFL, just like you can at pretty much every level of football. I disagree with people who say that the field and boundary is negated by the tightening of the hashes in the NFL. Certainly, it's a large difference from college and obviously high school. But we're going to get to the film, and I'm going to establish what I mean when I say field, boundary, and in order that we have common terminology here. And in order to do so, I feel like I have to start with an example. So oftentimes the ball is spotted on a hash. I think it's the majority of the time in high school football and youth football, but in the NFL and college it's different, especially when the hashes are tightened. Here the ball is in the middle of the field against the Raiders week 8. I'm not classifying this as either one, meaning I don't classify this in my brain and in our online database as run to the field or run to the boundary because the ball originated in the middle of the field. Now, if it is 11 personnel, you can see where the nickel defender lines up, so you could still classify it as a field or boundary if you wish. It's 12 personnel here, 2 tight ends on the field. The nickel for the Raiders is lined up over here. You all additionally have another safety spun down to the right-hand side of the offense, left-hand side of the defense. And Ben Johnson and these guys are running right at the nickel, this kind of down sweep on a same side run. Gibbs for 8 yards. So that's a ball in the middle of the field. Now let's go. A ball is spotted on the hash, and we're going to get a run to the field. This, of course, is Montgomery's 75-yard touchdown run against the Chargers. You've got great blocks downfield by St. Brown and great effort by Jamison Williams to keep up with and in some cases speed past David Montgomery. Kind of clear the way for his 75-yard run. We'll go back to the all-22 angle for a moment. Ball is on the left hash, 11 personnel. And the original intent of this play is to the offense's right, the downside of our screen, and then Montgomery cuts downhill and then winds it back to the opposite side, which would be to the boundary. I'm calling the original intention of the play call. In this case, zone to the field. And Montgomery cuts it downhill. You got a great job by St. Brown on the edge defender, and then he works up to the same guy that Jamison Williams is headed for. So establishing to you what run to the field and run to the boundary means. Most of you listening don't need to hear it. I wanted to make sure that everyone was on the same page and figured I would use a handful of plays to do so. One other play that is always run to the left is the split back sweep. In this case, it's 11 personnel, 4th and 1. Against the Chargers in that same game. St. Brown, really shows his versatility on the last 2 plays. Blocking, actually gets a hand on 2 guys, blocking on Montgomery's 75-yard touchdown run. And then here he is lining up at running back out of 11 personnel to run this to the field because the ball's on the right hash. Wide receiver kind of misses this block on the inside backer. Tight end cuts. Jackson loops around to go get the corner. St. Brown understands he's only got to get 1 yard on a 4th and 1. So he's willing to press here and try not to make the linebacker miss to the inside or juke him. He understands I just got to get the first down. That's what makes him such a brilliant player. But you have 2 runs to the field there from that game against the Chargers. Finally, I picked this one specifically. 11 personnel against the Falcons, I think week 3. Against the grain of the motion. A Gibbs for 21 yards. Now, I picked this play intentionally, to be honest with you, because Ben Johnson actually runs this to the field in Saturday night's game against the Broncos. But you can see the element running back into the boundary. Sometimes it's to your best lineman. Sometimes it's to your best blocking tight end. In this case, they've motioned St. Brown all the way across. Nickel defender went with him because it was 11 personnel. And so they're basically a man down in this space here where the nickel defender lined up pre-snap to defend Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm talking about that guy right there. So now that we're clear on what we're talking about, runs to the field, runs to the boundary, and then when the ball's in the middle of the field. Here's the data that one of my patrons was able to provide. I don't know his name, but Nem Leon. He went back and watched the game Saturday night or maybe Sunday night to help me out, which I thought was really cool. First half run plays. He's got, and I trust the data, it fits with what I thought I saw live and why I mentioned it in the reaction video, and we talked about it in our Discord at length after the game. He's got run plays in the first half, 6 to the field, 2 middle, and then 4 to the boundary. Second half, 3 to the field, 1 to the middle, 12 to the boundary. So huge disparity in the second half in terms of runs to the boundary or to the field. This first one is a 3rd and 10. 7th possession. I believe the Broncos have come down and made it 21-7. Third quarter, and you can see the ball was on the right hash. It's 11 personnel. And the cool thing about this play that I think makes it anomalous, even for Ben Johnson, who has a tendency to run the football on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. If you recall that great quote that Tony Romo said against the Chargers, nobody does that. 4th and 5, the trap play. The cool thing about this is you've got the only tight end on the field, Laporta, to the field, away from the point of attack. St. Brown and Khalif Raymond to the boundary are asked to block Justin Simmons and the corner. Clearly, the offensive line played great on Saturday. I feel like that goes without saying, but look at the blockers. All man for a man. Give to Gibbs. 11 yards, pretty much untouched. St. Brown, again, the versatility. I mean, you saw him block on Montgomery's touchdown run against the Chargers. You saw him carry the ball on a 4th and 1. He had 7 catches for over 100 yards Saturday night. And then here he is blocking Justin Simmons, a guy who's regarded by many as one of the best safeties in the league, on what ends up being an 11-yard gain. Same drive. Pretty much I'm going to focus on this drive. 1st and 10 from the Broncos 38 after converting that 3rd and 10. It's going to be Gibbs up the middle for 4. You've got an eligible offensive lineman here. My apologies, for 34. I misread that. Gibbs up the middle for 34. I will show you the all-22. But if you notice, the very next play is, whether you want to call this middle or whether you want to call this boundary really doesn't matter to me. The point is, it's not to the field. It's not where the eligible 6th offensive lineman is in what I would call jumbo 12 personnel. Broncos have responded with their underfront 5 technique, 9 technique, or wide 9. Nose or shade, 3 technique backside, and then wide 9 to the boundary. That's where you got the problem in terms of gaps. Split zone concept. Bring in Laporta to go get the D end. Gibbs going to hit this downhill, almost takes it to the house. Additionally, down here to the boundary, wide receiver going to get the safety and leave the corner, in this case, Surtain unblocked. I didn't think Surtain played very well Saturday, but I'm sure that there's people who regard him higher than I do. I just didn't think it was his best performance. I think Ben Johnson runs to the boundary when he has to, or when he wants to get yards, when he wants to get conversions, because he knows how to control the look that the defense is giving him out of each personnel grouping. This is the same play, the 34-yard run by Gibbs, just so you get a look at the 2 high safety structure of it. 1 outside linebacker, 3 interior defenders, 2 inside linebackers. Able to get both of those guys blocked up. 47 stepped himself out of the play. 49 also stepped backside because of the split zone element of it. And Gibbs is off to the races. Probably one of my favorite plays to watch this year. I thought he was gone. I really thought Gibbs was going to score. Get down into the inside the 5, and this is going to be touchdown pass to Sam Laporta for 3 yards into the boundary, mind you. It's bunch A. So bunch A, motion fast to the left. And you get this little out and in cut by Laporta, who beats Surtain. Simmons opens up the window by going with the running back, in this case Gibbs. And then Laporta is going to bring it back against the grain against Surtain, who's not able to get his foot in the ground quick enough to recover. He is in pretty good coverage relationship for real. Goff just put it in a great place for Laporta to use his big body, makes it 28-7. Broncos had to settle for a field goal on their ensuing possession after a couple of great defensive plays by Barnes, first of all, Malifonwu, Anzalone, and Reeves-Maybin. I think those two guys and Malifonwu were involved in the first play at the goal line to keep the running back McLaughlin out. So we're going to the 8th possession now, and we go 11 personnel. You're getting the wide 9 down here to the boundary, nickel to the field out of 11 personnel, twin slot. And I think you've got run against the grain of the motion. Same exact setup that you saw against the Falcons. Nickel defender running with St. Brown in motion. The only difference is this one goes back to the field. It's a pain in the butt when someone is committed to running against motion. So you're not talking about running the play with motion all the time. Very similar conceptually to some of the stuff the Rams and Sean McVay did to the Ravens 2 weeks ago now, or 2 games ago in Baltimore in a brilliant game, highly contested. Ravens won 37-31 in overtime. End zone angle, same play, and I'll touch back on that point again in a moment. McVay and the Rams offense is built on motion and then some toss stuff. Motion and then split zone with the tight end coming back across the green and the running back bringing it back downhill. And then occasionally, similar to this play here, motion, and then he run the zone opposite of it. 49 tries to get there. He almost gets there front side. This combo does a great job on the D tackle up to 47. You can see that they've climbed up. Offensive line played fantastic. Thought Decker still looked a little stiff at times to me. I feel like I've seen him look more athletic. Laporta is trying to go get the inside linebacker who's 49, who's gone, so he should work up and try to set a crease on the backside safety. As it stands, it's a 7-yard gain again to the field. 8th possession, 28-10 now. Next play, fast forward, early 4th quarter. That was near the end of the 3rd quarter. And you got Montgomery for 4. Ball's on the right hash, 12 personnel. Laporta here, I think Mitchell, the other tight end, run to the field, this time with the motion. Exact opposite intention or flow of the previous play because the running back is going with the motion, trying to get someone to expand and get offensive linemen up in linebackers' faces immediately. In this case, Decker isn't able to deal with Singleton, who dives back inside. Again, I felt like Decker was a little stiff compared to what I had seen him earlier this year when he didn't have health issues. So now we're at 2nd and 6 at the 50, and we're downhill. Montgomery for 9 out of 11 personnel bunch, so they've controlled where the nickel is. The nickel is going to be to the bunch. I would say the ball's in the middle of the field here. It's close to the right hash, don't get me wrong. Split zone concept with Laporta coming to get the backside D-end or outside linebacker, and nobody is able to escape from their blocks here. Montgomery skirts through. 9 yards, right up the middle. Don't think I give you the end zone angle. My apologies, I do. Nickel defender is right here. This ball was neither run to the field or the boundary because it originated in the middle of the field. We're getting to my culminating point here, which will be 2 consecutive runs to the boundary when Ben Johnson wants to score on this possession. Controlling the nickel defender is basically what he's doing. Keeping the nickel defender away and understanding how the defense is going to set their front, depending on which side the nickel is, helps him Ben Johnson, predetermine what look he's going to get and then know which guys are going to be matched up how. I think it's a great job. He does a great job of designing the offense, number one. Number two, he does a fantastic job of designing certain plays. So here you go, 12 personnel. Really, it's jumbo 12 because Skipper is in up to the top side. With Laporta, it's 13 yards, Montgomery into the boundary. No motion across this time, what some people call jet motion, what some people call fast. St. Brown just getting to the hip, and then probably going to work on the backside edge defender just to cut him off and make sure that he can't get involved in the play from the backside. base defense on the field by the Broncos. So when St. Brown motions in, the backside inside linebacker steps in as well. He was walked out like a will linebacker to the weak side. He's not able to get involved either. Offensive lineman in the other inside linebacker's face. Skipper works up to the corner. Leave the safety unblocked. 13 yards from Montgomery. Beautiful concept into the boundary. End zone angle, same play. One more after this one. You guys know how it ends. This is 8th possession, so it's going to be Gibbs' 12-yard touchdown. I think you've got a great job by 73 here to use his shoulder to chip and then work up to 47, the front side inside linebacker. Man, when 73 is there, it's a whole different thing to deal with this offensive line. If Decker can get back to full health, they're going to be a devastating team to deal with offensively. You can see the nature of the cutoff blocks, but credit to Ben Johnson for manipulating this linebacker, going jumbo 12, knowing the Broncos will respond with their base defense. So he'd be apexed off screen to our right. And then when St. Brown came in, it didn't give him enough time to get back in position where he could climb over top of that block. This is all Ben Johnson's design, and then the players executing it on the field. Last one, into the boundary. You had some runs to the field on this possession, don't get me wrong. But this is the toss to the boundary. You do actually have the nickel defender, I think, over here. And Laporta is able to go cut him off. It's actually their base defense. My apologies. That's their base defense. Laporta's been playing fullback more recently. There's 3 interior defensive linemen, 1 outside linebacker, edge defender, 1 outside linebacker, edge defender, 2 inside linebackers. You can see Simmons is the high safety. Corner, that's a corner I misidentified as a nickel defender before. You got a pin on the outside with the receiver on the edge defender. Laporta and St. Brown are going out on the edge to go get people, and look at St. Brown. I mean, he's got this guy at the goal line. Nothing. Really no effort there. Don't get me wrong. That's not a high effort. I'm not even going to tell you who that is, because I'm sure I got pushed back already in the comment section because of what I said earlier, but didn't see high effort out of him. Ben Johnson has run plays everywhere. Field, boundary, strong side, weak side, gap runs, zone runs, whatever you want to call it. They're all there. My point is, I think he controls defense's reactions brilliantly throughout the game. Some would call it probing. Some would say it's setting things up. I think he does set things up. I think he gets you into the look that he wants you to be in to be able to run certain plays later on. In this case, the last 2 snaps you saw Montgomery out of jumbo 12 personnel for 13 yards. And then here's Gibbs on a toss into the boundary for 12 yards, touchdown. Made it 35-10, I believe. You guys let me know what you think of the video. We do have the data to back this up, meaning the data for the season. The last 2-3 weeks has been difficult for me to enter. Josh has been doing a great job of getting information into the online database. I haven't had nearly enough time to try to enter all of the information. Hopefully can get to that, but it's going to be another incredibly busy week for me. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know. If you'd like to see more data-driven stuff here, 11 personnel, 12 personnel, jumbo 12, runs to the field, runs to the boundary, run-pass ratio, I can develop that. It'd probably take me until at least Thursday to get that done. I have a huge time commitment on my hands Wednesday. But in any case, I appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video in the comments section. If you think other Lions fans would enjoy this film study look at how Ben Johnson manipulated the Broncos defense with the run game in the 3rd quarter. Yes, Jared Goff threw 5 touchdowns. But I think this 7th and 8th possession was him saying, well, we can do this too. And I actually enjoyed watching it. I don't know about you, just seeing them grind someone down to the point where players, high-level players, were given 0 effort to finish the play. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section.